Hello all my Kenvians, PapaKenn here, bringing you another episode of PapaKenn Plays Hyrule Warriors. And this episode is actually different than what I expected when I finished recording the voiceover for the last one, because you see, I will not be continuing in Legend mode, but I am going to be playing the first level with one of the new characters that came from Hyrule Warriors Legends. And that character I'm going to be playing as is a really fun one called Linkle. Now, as you can see, I kind of scroll around to some of the different characters there, just seeing what's available, but I obviously ended up deciding on Linkle. Now, clearly I have not done much with the character. She is level 1, has no, well, she has just the basic crossbows, which are her weapons. And, well, as you'll see here, gonna give her a few badges, give her some upgrades to the combos and everything as I'm able to, as far as the items I have available. Or, I'm sorry, the materials I have available. And, again, I'll be playing the first level, which I know it's kind of boring to do that, but unless I'm mistaken, I'll go back through and double check this, but I don't believe that the DLC for these characters actually includes the levels that are available for them in Hyrule Warriors Legends, which is really too bad, because I would love to see that in HD. I would love to see that while I'm playing my Wii U, and who knows, maybe they will release that DLC at some point. Or maybe they already have, and I don't know it. I don't know! But, I do hope you all enjoy watching me play as Linkle here in the first level, because it's just, especially if you haven't played as her on the 3DS version of the game yet, she is just so much fun to play as. Just very similar to Link in some ways, but also quite different. And you'll see why. I mean, truth be told, if it wasn't for the Master Sword... Yeah, how about that for crossbows? And she... I think one of the things I love about her character most is basically her crossbows work. You know, they work basically just like guns would, essentially. I mean, there's obviously no crossbow on Earth that can shoot that often, that fast, with that much versatility. And her movements and the way she fights, even though she doesn't have a sword, honestly reminds me so much of Dante from the Devil May Cry games. I know that probably sounds like a very strange and ridiculous comparison, but it's one I stand by, all the same. And there's a little cinematic. Trying to find the right way to skip it. There we go. And of course I get a cheap hit in on me. Jerks. But seriously, it's one thing to see it, but, I mean, for anyone that has played the Hyrule Warriors game, or even Hyrule Warriors Legends, and you haven't unlocked Linkle yet, there's just something amazing about playing as her character. And actually that move right there, which, I mean, I displayed it earlier as well, but the way that she uses the crossbows to keep the enemies up in the air, it reminds me of what you do with Dante with his dual pistols in the Devil May Cry games. Again, I know it's a ridiculous comparison, but it's one I stand by, because the way she fights is just so acrobatic. Seriously, if she had Link's sword, we would have Nintendo's equivalent of Dante in her. And that's just one aspect of the character that I absolutely love. Honestly, I think the only thing I don't like about her character is something that is hard to explain without actually seeing the the level she plays in, or the beginning and ending cinematic. If I ever play a level with her and it actually shows that ending cinematic, I'll probably be able to explain it better. But essentially, like, the whole story with Linkle is she believes herself to be, like, the chosen one, the one that is meant to save Hyrule from all the monsters. And far as I'm concerned, she very well could be. I mean, yes, Link has the Master Sword, but I would much rather be playing as Linkle. But you know, and that's one thing. You know, that's absolutely fine. A little bit of, you know, she's a little bit misguided. She thinks that this compass around her neck signifies that she is meant to be the chosen one to save Hyrule. Perfectly fine. The problem is that I'm trying not to get frustrated, just because I know it's all meant to be lighthearted. But in the ending cinematics, they kind of make her out to be just a complete airhead. Because essentially she's looking at her map, and I think it's upside down, maybe? But she thinks she's supposed to go one way, and so she starts going along the direction she believes she's supposed to go, and then the camera zooms out, and it shows a little sign with Hyrule pointing in the complete opposite direction, or Hyrule Castle pointed in the complete opposite direction. And again, I know it's just supposed to be lighthearted fun, and it's silly, and it really is. But after you've played as this character, and you see how much of a badass she is, it just feels like such a slight to the character, who, again, is, I mean, she's a made-up character. She's not any part of the Zelda canon, to the best of my knowledge. But she very well could and should be, based on her appearance in this game alone. But again, that's just my opinion. For those of you that have played the Hyrule Warriors games, and might have had a chance to play as Linkle, I would love to know your opinion on that, because again, she's just such a phenomenally fighting character, and the crowd control is just amazing. I mean, you basically, your strong attacks are basically shooting bombs from your crossbows. I mean, come on. I do wish she had maybe an alternate standalone strong attack instead of just the juggling enemies, but if you use it right, it actually can do quite a bit of damage. You know, if you're doing it on just maybe a couple of enemies, not so much, but if you're in front of a large crowd of enemies and you have a full bar, you can get them juggling up in the air, and even before the bar runs out, you can just unleash on them and just wreck shop. So yeah, I mean, it's my personal thought that they kind of slighted the character, and this was admittedly a bit of a waste of my special attack, because those little gremlins were essentially dead by the time I unleashed it. But it's not like it takes very long to get the special bar ranked back up. Hello, Convenience. Well, I experienced a bit of a major issue there, and amazingly enough, actually was able to recover most of the audio recording. And since there isn't much time actually left on this video, the fact that it was so close to being done, I figured I'd just go ahead and append it. Which, you know, hopefully that doesn't bother you all too much. It was certainly a bit annoying that I had to do it at all, but hey, hopefully the audio isn't too horribly out of sync here. And, I mean, the plus side is I wasn't really commenting too much on anything occurring at the time in the video, so hopefully that helps. But yeah, just to reiterate on what I was saying before, Linkle is just an awesome, awesome character, and I really would love to see more of her outside of this game in some form, and I would love for them to do the character some justice and not just have her be some airhead that gets lost trying to make her way to Hyrule Castle. Now, if I can, and they actually do have those special levels, I would love to share them in upcoming videos, primarily because, I mean, there's different aspects of the story. It's like the first one is obviously Linkle, and then the next one you play as Linkle again, but it's against, what's his name? Skull Kid? Basically one of the kids from the Lost Woods and sort of an antagonist in Majora's Mask. Ah, I love that attack. And admittedly, I do go back here and just kind of waste time beating up on a bunch of different orcs. Was it at this point I decided to turn tail and head back? I don't know. Yeah, it must have been, because, I mean, at this point, seriously, I was just kind of like, oh, alright, let's get a move on, let's get this story finished. Or in this case, I'm just trying to pick up as many materials as I can. And I'm actually watching this on low quality, so I can't read anything that is actually being displayed. Otherwise, I would read along in a very dramatic slash possibly slightly sarcastic voice. And I'm sorry if the audio level of the way I'm speaking is different. I tried my best to get it just right. Of course, then I accidentally knocked it up and had to move it down, as you all likely heard. Ah, yes, the crowd control is strong with this one. I mean, seriously, I apologize for just kind of gazing in awe, but I absolutely love it. Oh, would you guys quit belly aching? Now, I know that was pretty cool. I don't think I'd ever noticed one of those. Well, actually, now that I'm recording, I can see it, but when there's that little explosion, one of the orcs like flew into the screen. That was pretty sweet. I mean, admittedly, as low polygon as they are, it's not super impressive, but it still looked really cool, and I liked it. Oh, that's right. For some reason, I guess maybe it was because I was taking too long, or she was running into harder enemies than she's used to, but Impa was actually in danger of getting critically injured during this, so that's why I decided to just go ahead and head for the fairy fountain and get things moving, because actually I don't remember if I mentioned this in a previous video or not, but basically if one of the other heroes runs away and it's not like part of the story, you lose the battle. Which really stinks. I mean, you'd think you'd be able to lose one and you just get a lower grade on the level, big friggin' whoop. But no, it's if you don't die, but one of the other heroes, quote-unquote, runs away, then you lose the battle. Or at least that's been my experience. Maybe the only time it's actually happened to me is like the core character that can't run away has been run away. It's hard to say. But as you all know, this is leading us up to the fight with King Dodongo. King Dodongo, yes. And wow, I'm guessing this is over with rather quickly based on the preview video here. Well, it takes a couple of minutes, which, considering I started Linkle out at level 1, isn't super surprising. And throwing the bombs in King Dodongo's mouth. Nom 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 nom. And the sad part is, I don't think I ever figured out a really good combo to use on him. There were some that seemed to do a fair amount of damage, but nothing super intense, sadly. Though it does definitely always help whenever good old King Dodongo opens his yap right after a little series of attacks like that. Now, what is her attack? Yeah, that's friggin' awesome. That's... I swear, I absolutely love being able to just watch these videos afterward, because I can appreciate some of the moves that take place. Because while you're playing, it's like you can take a second to look at those moves, but if you're really wanting to stay on top of things, you have to... you know, you have to keep your eyes on what's around you. Oh, wow, I did actually kill him pretty quick. I did not expect that. That's awesome. Yet further evidence that Linkle is awesome and needs to be a legit character in the Zelda timeline. And for some reason here, I decided to just have Linkle pose beside Link, because I'm kind of a nerd like that. And we are approaching the end of the video, so I will go ahead and end it here. Everyone, thank you very much for joining me for this episode of PapaKenn Plays Hyrule Warriors. I hope you enjoyed yourselves. I know I did, other than the having to re-record my audio here. And yeah, I will see you all on the next video. Until then, later days.